You're checking out an all-new The RCWR show, dropping Wednesday night of December 18th, 2019. What is going on, guys? As always, we're here. We're talking AEW Dynamite Fallout and NXT Fallout, sprinkled in with a couple of headlines here. Gotta tell you off the break, as far as who had the overall better show this week, I gotta give the edge a little bit more to NXT tonight. I gotta tell you, as far as a big wet fart goes, I think most of us can be in agreement what AEW Dynamite did to close out their show. And keep in mind, for now, it's the final AEW Dynamite of 2019. So that last burning image that's left in our minds is of the Dark Order running roughhouse, just chaos, pandemonium all over the place. And yeah, that kind of went over like a little bit of a wet fart as far as I'm concerned, but whatever. There were a lot of bright spots for tonight's Dynamite as well. It wasn't all that bad, but if you're kind of like me, you're getting a little bit annoyed about the Dark Order, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. But no, I think NXT got the W tonight. We'll see how it goes in the ratings. I'm still a bit amazed at the ratings for last week's shows. It was a dead tie, and then you have fans on the left, and then you have fans on the right that were coming up with all these conspiracy theories why they felt that, well, no, NXT is the superior one this week because XYZ. No. AEW is the superior brand because blah, 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 blah. It's like, can we all just be in agreement that as wrestling fans, we all just basically won? Why do we have to be, well, this is better than... No, like, we should be coming together saying, hey, man, both shows, they did good. Both shows, they kind of messed up in some of these areas, but they can improve in these aspects. Yeah, wrestling fans in general, as always, wins on Wednesday nights. That's the biggest winner. Like, everybody wants to, it feels so Crips and Bloods the way some of you guys be tripping over these ratings sometimes, man. But let's talk about some of these key points that went down tonight. I want to do like we've been doing off and on for the past couple of weeks, and I want to stay with just AEW all the way, and then we'll talk more about NXT. And, you know, we're finding our groove. I know some of you guys probably were a little bit confused the way we were doing it in the earlier coverages here. So let's jump right into it. So AEW Dynamite tonight, one of the main highlights was Jungle Boy. But you wouldn't know it was Jungle Boy because Jim Ross was confusing the hell out of us when they were setting up that match between Jungle Boy and Jericho. You heard on commentating JR trying to put this match over, trying to put over Jungle Boy. And one of the things that he said was, yeah, folks, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, Jungle Kid, where the hell his name is, Jungle Boy. It's like, come on, JR. And what made it so much more laughable, in my mind at least, was that a couple of segments later, you see this sit-down interview that JR has with Jungle Boy, him candidly offering thoughts on Jericho as the man, and then Jericho as the wrestling living legend, basically. And I just couldn't help but look at how all that was set up, and I'm going, damn, JR's doing his part. He's doing the very best that he can with the resources that's given to him, but whoever is giving him his lines, feeding him his stuff, giving him his paperwork and all that other stuff, I definitely would have done a more bona fide job in making him really come off as the professional that we all have come to know and love for JR and his commentating and his interviews and all of that. And I think one of the ways you could have cleaned that up a little bit, not much you needed. One of the things you could have done was insert in there at the beginning that JR had mentioned Jungle Boy was going to be taking on Jericho later on in the night. JR say, folks, Man, you picked a really great night to check out AEW Dynamite, and let me tell you something. You know, one of the main event matches we got coming up is Chris Jericho taking on Jungle Boy, Luke Perry's son. It's that 10-minute challenge. Can Jungle Boy last 10 minutes against the AEW World Heavyweight Champion? It's a non-title match, but you would think that a W like that for Jungle Boy, not only would that be some serious bragging rights, but to be able to say you survived 10 minutes. Hell, maybe even you defeated Jericho by pinfall or submission. Hell, even a countout. You would like to believe that as far as your cachet goes, not only does it go up, but talk about some serious bragging rights one could have in laying claim that maybe they should be the number one contender to eventually face Jericho for that AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And you could have had Shivani and Excalibur chime in, just feed off of that. And then you follow it up with, and I didn't need to sit down and write this out. I'm just looking at all of this as always when I'm watching these shows in real time. I'm just, boom, just how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling is just flowing. I'm not writing anything down. I'm seeing it as it comes and I'm reacting that way. The other way, on top of all of that, you also could have had Jim Ross say, hey folks, you definitely want to stick around because on top of that match, there's a really great candid interview I had with Jungle Boy, really giving you some great insight, the man behind the character. Stick around for that. It's going to be some really good stuff. You know, it was just so sloppy the way they had kind of set everything up, putting Jim Ross out there. Now look, I can only give but so much to JR from the you need to step it up standpoint. Look, man, he's doing the very best that he can, and he is getting leaps and bounds better. I think it's really helping him that he's traveling with those guys every single week, and he's getting more familiar with the roster and everything, and his smoothness is getting better. I think many of us can definitely agree to that. But it's little things like that they got to do a better job in really tightening up, and I can excuse JR, but to a point. I mean, for me, the guy lost his wife, so he's doing everything that he can to stay busy and everything like that. So, you know, for me, you know, but at the same time, I gotta offer the constructive criticism where I see it and everything, right? So now look, that was a great one-on-one that Jim Ross had with Jungle Boy. I did enjoy that. I love the fact that they had brought up the whole, hey, if your dad were here today, what do you think he would say as far as seeing you take on the World Heavyweight Champion here in AEW? What do you think his thoughts would be? And I like how Jungle Boy talked about how, well, this is something that off and on before he passed. This is something that for many years we spent a lot of time talking about and everything. I'm not really sure, but I would like to believe he'd be pretty proud. He'd be pretty pumped up for this moment. So, yeah, that was a really great sit-down conversation he had with him. And I like how Jungle Boy said, just Chris Jericho, the man, does not intimidate me whatsoever. I'm not intimidated in any type of way by the man, but Chris Jericho, the wrestling legend, everything that he's done in this business, yeah, that's a little bit intimidating, right? So I liked how he just kind of went full circle, but came out of there in such a big positive way that, yeah, okay, he knows he's going into this somewhat as the underdog, but he's going to give it his best. He's going to go out there and he's going to give it all he's got. All or nothing at all, right? So that was a really nice tone that they had set, and I know we're kind of bouncing a little bit all over the place, but we might as well talk about that match since we're already teasing it and everything. So Jungle Boy came out of there surviving the 10 minutes against Jericho. Remember, this was a non-title matchup, okay? So Jungle Boy lasted the 10 minutes. It came down to the final seconds as Jericho had applied the walls of Jericho. Looked as though maybe, just maybe, Jungle Boy was going to be tapping out, but he's feeding off of the crowd. The crowd basically counting it down, those final 10 seconds and everything. And you're going, man, with it being so close, how much stamina, how much, from a physical standpoint, how much more can, storyline wise, mind you, how much more can Jungle Boy endure from this trademark signature / finishing maneuver that Jericho has applied on his opponents time and time and time again, and won many matches, won many championships with that move? How much longer can Jungle Boy hold on? And he manages to hold on, never taps out, does not pass out. He manages to get through the whole 10 seconds and it's over. And so by default, you're going, okay, well, Jungle Boy lasted 10 minutes with Jericho. Okay, so he won. Well, Jericho, pissed off like the prima donna, la champion as he is, he actually rolls outside of the ring, goes over to Justin Roberts, rings the bell and everything, and says, no. He did not win. He did not win. Nope, didn't happen. Add 5 more minutes. Let's go. Add 5 more minutes. Ring the bell. Let's go. So he gets back in there, applies more insult to injury to Jungle Boy. 1 point, Jungle Boy gets a roll up on Jericho, and you're thinking, oh snap, he's getting the roll up. Okay, well, maybe, just maybe, we're gonna have Jungle Boy come out of here escaping with the W, and okay, so that's kind of something to hang back on for a couple of weeks and everything. You can have that in the nice back burner. No, Jericho kicks out. Yeah, Jericho kicks out. So the next thing that happens, once Jericho kind of realizes, okay, this kid still has a bit of stamina to him, yeah, forget that. Let me just go ahead and roll out. So he takes his championship, rolls out. So technically, Jungle Boy defeated Jericho, if you want to be technical, twice. So remember, he survived the 10 minutes. And then since Jericho was going, no, add 5 more minutes to this, right? But look at it 2 ways. You could say, okay, it's technically a new match, whatever, but Jericho loses to Jungle Boy via countout. Now, if you want to just group it all together and just go, nah, it was just one big old 15-minute match, well, Jungle Boy won then because Jericho just rolled out. So Jungle Boy wins by countout. So very interesting how they had played it out and everything, and the way that it's ended for now between these two men. You have something going into 2020 whenever you wrap things up with Moxley and Jericho, or if you want to juggle, have Jericho go into multiple feuds, you could easily come back to him and Jungle Boy as you got something that's there basically, right? So I like that. Now, if you ask me, because I thought about this a little bit, and there was a part of me that was going, man, you know, I think AEW may have blown this. And let me explain to you the reason why I think AEW may have blown this. Because, and again, I'm backing up and I'm saying how I felt initially, but it's changed since. When I first looked at how everything had panned out, I was under the impression that, okay, this was a really good opportunity to really have serious bragging rights go the way of Jungle Boy here. And I felt that during that whole 10-man challenge, I felt if you would have had him get a roll-up on Jericho, my God, that just would have been so much great buzz, like a mofo, right? That really would have been great. But to see how things had panned out a little bit, it's kind of like, now let me tell you where I hope they're going to be going with this when it's all said and done. Do I want to see Jungle Boy and Jericho lock it up again? Yeah, I would love to see them lock it up again. And I think depending on how you want to lay this out, I think it's perfect. And I had teased this on social media earlier. Look, one of the ways you can tease this, and look, I'm not writing any of this shit down. This is just freestyle thinking, just the way it flows, way it comes to me. Whenever you're getting ready to wrap it up with Moxley, or you're getting ready to just have Jericho juggle another feud at the same time as Moxley or whoever, you can easily have Jungle Boy pop up. Hey, Jericho, Man, I don't know, in case you might have forgot, I do have technically two W's over you. Do we need to rewind it back? Do you remember the 10-minute challenge? Remember, I survived that. You remember that? And Jericho, nah, it didn't count. It didn't count. No, it didn't count. It's like, okay. All right, yeah, I'll give you that. Well, didn't you do something where you added 5 more minutes or you try to have a new match start or something like that? And you walked out on me. So I guess if you want to get technical, Jericho, I beat you twice. Ain't that right, fans? And the fans could be, I'm picturing it. It's beautiful. They're all in Jungle Boy's favor and everything. And this basically will set up a match, basically, where Jericho says, oh, okay, I see you talking a hot game, all this other crap. It sets up a match. Now, if you want to do a non-title matchup, and let the stipulation be that if Jungle Boy comes out of that on top, then he gets a shot at Jericho for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That's one direction you can go. If you don't want to go in, and I hope they can go in that direction, because I actually would prefer that, right? I actually would. Or you can just go straight into the championship match. I think it would be better if you just did a non-title matchup. I think that would be better. And if you want to add some insult to injury, you want to have Swagger, a couple other cats inject themselves into that, that's perfect as well. Because you know that you're going to have Jack Hager, you're going to have Sammy Guevara, a couple of other cats that's going to interfere in that. You might as well kind of balance it out just a little bit, right? But when it's all said and done, Jungle Boy comes out of that on top, gets his shot against Jericho for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Now, whether or not that plays out on Dynamite, your guess is as good as mine. You either play it out on Dynamite or you play it out. Me personally, I think you should play it out on Dynamite. Reason being, I'm picturing it, and if you want to cause a lot of controversy, if you want to have social media in a frenzy and all of this other stuff, borrow a page from Raw 2000 when Chris Jericho had took on Triple H for the championship. Y'all remember that? I know y'all remember that. It's like one of the most key milestones in Raw history. Jericho beats Triple H, and Triple H ends up going to the officials, upper management, and saying, hey, that needs to be taken out of the record books. That match, that championship win, never happened, and he's strong-armed like a mofo. And I love how they had it set up, because that was the carrot that was dangling over your head for the entire 2 hours of Raw. You're seeing Jericho win, you're like, oh yeah, Jericho did it, he won the big one. And you're going, man, how about that Jericho? And you're riding with that for the rest of the night. But then you're seeing that Jericho, wait a minute, not so fast. This championship win is not his, because Triple H is protesting. What the hell? And basically, before the end of the episode is over, we see that we see that Chris Jericho has to relinquish the title back because the official basically reversed the decision and all that other stuff. I would like to see a similar case happen with Jungle Boy. And the story that you can just keep giving right now is just, hey, whatever it is, these past couple of times that Jungle Boy and Jericho has locked up, Jungle Boy has had Jericho's number. Let it culminate in what appears to be Jungle Boy pulling a major upset, winning the championship from Jericho. And you can have Jericho. And see, that's why I kind of feel as though maybe it should have been a title match tonight. Maybe it should have been, because you could have easily went in there and you could have had Jericho say something along the lines of, okay, great, you survived 10 minutes, but you didn't beat me. I came out on top of that, and maybe just in this frenzy haze, you could have had Jericho say, hey, I'm so confident that I can beat you, I'm going to put the championship on the line. He could have did that tonight. If you're thinking about it from a storyline standpoint, they actually could have set it up tonight. Jericho gets, the whole cradle pin and all that by Jungle Boy still. It applies to Jericho. Comes out with the AEW championship. Okay, you've got a week of controversy. You got Chris Jericho and AEW in a great position where they can go on social media and they can just
shitstorm like a mofo, basically saying that it does not count because, the match, it never happened because the official match was the 10-minute challenge. Who are the official and Justin Roberts to listen to me saying that, I want another match or add X amount more minutes to this match and change the stipulation and all this other crap. So if AEW wants to, they're in a really good position in a nutshell where they can not only revisit this, but following up on what Jericho has said in a recent interview, how he loves the position that he's in right now because he can try to elevate some of these younger talents that's on the roster and everything. Kind of hoping that they follow up. They got nice ingredients right there, set in stone. How they got to come back and follow up on that story arc too. Not, that would be a major freaking failure. Now, Jon Moxley was brought up. He was not on this episode of AEW Dynamite tonight. Jericho went over to Tony Schiavone, had a few words with Schiavone talking about Moxley, basically saying, hey, look, we gave you some time to think about it, and there's no AEW Dynamite next Wednesday due to Christmas, but we'll be back on New Year's Day, and we expect to hear your decision by then. And hey, look, we got a nice big old mansion. There's a lot of cool, fun toys, devices, all kinds of cool stuff that's waiting for you when you're part of the inner circle. But hey, you enjoy the holidays. We'll see you on January 1st, 2020 for Dynamite, and we look forward to hearing your decision then. So that basically was Jericho's message to Moxley. Kick it off with some of the other stuff that we had got from tonight's AEW Dynamite. Like I said, you had some bright spots in here. I didn't particularly care for the ending of it, but, it's all good, man. So we had our first matchup of the night that went about, I would say it felt like 15 minutes long, about 15, somewhere between 15, definitely under 20 minutes. I'll say it was about 15, 17 minutes at most. Lucha Brothers taking on Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. Lucha Brothers defeating Kenny Omega and Adam Page. It actually was a pretty good matchup. Closing moments of that one, we had Saul Pentagon Jr. He took out Omega. Page takes him up top, hits an avalanche, fall away slam. Kenny comes in, hits the sky high. That only gets him a 2 count. Sling blade followed up by Pentagon. Kenny cuts him off, dumps Phoenix, and Paige accidentally hits Kenny with the buckshot lariat. Then there is the double stomp package pile driver finish on Omega, and that's how Lucha Brothers came out victorious. Very kind of physical / heated exchange there between Hangman Page and Omega, because since they weren't on the same page, they're kind of blaming each other for the miscommunication, everything that went about and everything. But we had Saul via Titantron. Pac had a message for both men, and really this was all about Omega. His message was really towards Omega, which was he was still after that rubber band match. He was still after that rematch. And he said, remember, last time we saw Pac, he said, hey, AEW and the roster, y'all ain't gonna like what I'm gonna do if you guys don't give me what I want. I'm not gonna be held responsible for my future actions. And true to his word, we see him go in the men's locker room where he attacked Kenny Omega's best friend, Michael Nakazawa, and laid him out big time. Paige, I don't think Paige tagged along with Omega, but I know Omega hauled ass trying to see what was going on and everything. And I believe that was the last time we saw what had came about. I think if they followed up one more time, Pac already did what he did to Michael Nakazawa, laid him out and everything, EMTs, all that, checking up on him. So now I don't know if that match between Pac and Omega is going to be happening on the first Dynamite of 2020, because I was kind of going back and forth. There was a lot of interesting stuff on tonight, I gotta tell you, between AEW Dynamite, NXT, Then you got live in front of a studio audience. They did another new episode of All in the Family. And for the first time ever, they did a new Good Times with an all new cast and everything. And then you got the whole impeachment stuff going on. So there's a lot of stuff that was going down tonight. And I'm actually looking forward to checking out live in front of a studio audience. I remember me and Tammy actually had reviewed the last installment for our Wrestling with the Topic series. That's a Patreon exclusive. And we had a lot of fun with that. And I have an idea who the cast is for Good Times, but she doesn't know who the cast is. So I can't wait to see her face when she sees who's playing who and everything. I think she's going to be quite taken back, surprised in a very good way and everything. But yeah, we'll definitely, for those of you that are Patreon members, we will be talking about that, and I'll let you guys know some of the programming notes we got for next week and the week after, because there is going to be a little bit of a shakeup for the programming. Let's keep rocking, let's keep rolling. Cody teamed up with Darby Allin to take on the Butcher and the Blade. And yes, folks, the bunny was at ringside. That beautiful, curvaceous bunny was at ringside. Okay matchup. Went about 10 minutes long. I would have to say. Yeah, this was okay. Some people were a little bit confused because they were under the impression that the Butcher and the Blade were now 0-2 since coming up to Dynamite, and that wasn't the case at all. Remember, one of the last times that we had saw the Butcher and the Blade, they took on and they defeated Cody and QT Marshall, and that was their first win. Now, when you go into this week and they were taking on Cody and Darby Allin, again, they lost to those guys. So now their record is 1-1. But the very first time they were in action against Cody and QT, they did get a W. So just want to make sure we clear the air on that one. I kind of thought for a second too, but then I had to actually, I tell you, sometimes I'm good when I can remember what happened last week. But if it's 2 weeks plus, usually I got to go back and I got to check my notes and everything. I'm continuing to enjoy the Butcher and the Blade. I like these guys' chemistry together. I like the great team up action that they're doing and everything. I like a really good tag team where it seems like they have one brain wave and they're acting as one. And it's kind of like a good example when you look at the Usos, or when you look at the Revival, right? Or when you look at the Midnight Express, or you look at the Rock and Roll Express, basically. That type of chemistry that I'm talking about, or the Rockers. You guys know what I'm talking about. And these guys actually flow pretty damn well together. And I tell you what, I would love to see the Butcher and the Blade go after the tag team champions. Me personally, I think that what's currently going on, see, this is the thing that I really didn't quite understand to a certain degree, that AEW really did not paint out, which was, why is this match happening again? Now, if everything was painted out on AEW being the elite, I don't know anything about that, right? I can only rely so much on what I'm seeing play out before my eyes with Dynamite each week. But I would have loved for there to be some type of a backdrop story. Was this a case where Cody had wanted to challenge these guys again, and that's why this match had came about? I'm kind of led to the impression maybe that's what had happened. I'm not really sure. But for me personally, after what went down tonight, I don't really want to see Cody and Darby against the Butcher and the Blade again. I mean, process of elimination, you're kind of going, well, it's now 1-1. So maybe now we do a rubber band match, right? And I don't think necessarily everything has to be, okay, well, since there was a rubber band match, we got to do one more match. I don't really think so. And for me personally, I just kind of feel that maybe one of the things that should have happened, looking back in retrospect, maybe the Butcher and the Blade should have just got that one over Cody and QT Marshall and just keep it moving along right off of that momentum from a storyline continuity standpoint. And just each time these guys pop up, they're just causing havoc and everything. And eventually it leads to them going for the tag team titles. I don't know in retrospect. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's still relatively early, but I don't know. Just right now, just kind of going with my gut instincts. That's what I'm really kind of. And speaking of gut instincts, I got to touch upon Jericho one more time. Look, us big dudes, we got to stick together and everything. I was asking this on social media, and shout out to John Draper. I was interacting with him and a couple other people during the shows tonight. I said, what is going on with Jericho? Is it my picture? Because sometimes my screen is a bit off and I gotta readjust the format size. I'm going, is it just me, or has Jericho gotten even bigger? And John was going, nah, man, dude is hefty. And I'm looking at him, and look, us big dudes, we gotta stick together, no doubt about that. But my God, man, I don't know if that's all booze or what, but I need Jericho to kind of, I know he's getting up there in age, but I need him to lose a little bit of that. I think if he can start with about 15, I think that would be good. 15 pounds, that would be good, because it's looking a little bit out of hand. It looks like he's had a little bit too much of the bubbly, so to speak, man. Go back. If you didn't watch Dynamite tonight, just go back and check it out. This was the first time ever, as long as I have been a fan of Chris Jericho's, been paying attention to his career. This was really one of those first times I actually kicked back and I said, Jericho's looking a little bit hefty, a little bit extra thick this time of the year. What's going on there? All right, next matchup, Awesome Kong faced the Victim. I don't even know who the hell the person was that she had faced. That's the funny part. Seriously, I don't know. I got just a victim. The Victim took the Victim out in about less than 40 seconds. Squash match, basically. Connected with the Implant Buster. That pretty much finished it off. Kong taking a piece of that Victim's hair. So, hey, on a good note, this was Awesome Kong's first AEW Dynamite match. How about that? Yeah. All the little times that we've seen her with Brandy making little cameos left and right, and this was actually the first time that she had a match on Dynamite. There was a number one contenders match, Britt Baker taking on Chris Statlander. It was about 10 minutes of a match. Chris Statlander actually came out on top, defeating Britt Baker by pinfall. I tell you, I'm really confused at some of these matches that happens before our eyes each and every single week. I'm just trying to understand this. So Chris Statlander, who hasn't been on AEW Dynamite for not even a month, and she's in this number one contenders match, and she's taking on Britt Baker, and for me, the first thing I'm going is, well, wait a minute, man. I thought the whole win-loss record thing, that was going to count. Wins, losses, it matters because it helps with the rankings and everything. And, okay, so you're trying to tell me, just for the sake of the argument, let me just throw a bullshit number out there and you tell me if it makes sense. So if somebody is 2-0, and they are taking on somebody that is 8-2, right? Somebody that's 2-0, and you have another person that is 8-2. I don't know. I mean, by default, shouldn't the person that's 8-2 go before the person that's 2-0? I'm just saying. So it's really, and it justifies in my mind, and I think in a lot of people's minds even more, why this AEW ranking system, why. And look, I'm happy to hear from Cody and Tony Khan and them that the ranking system is going to be reset. It needs to be reset because, a perfect example, look at Jungle Boy's record. That was the most infamous image that was running around all on social media leading up to the 10-man challenge tonight against Jericho. It was his record, his overall record, his win-loss record, and you're going, wait. And he's taking on Jericho? Like, even if it's a non-title matchup, he's taking on Jericho? Like, what the fuck? So, I'm happy that they're going to reset the records the beginning of the new year. But, it's just a matter of time. And I don't think they're even going to make a big old announcement about it. But I think eventually they're just going to do away with the records entirely. Because if you keep bringing up these win-loss records and everything to the point that I mentioned earlier, you're going, wait a minute, a number one contenders match, but wait, this person's 2-0. They're still relatively new to the roster, and you got this other person that's 8-2. They've been fighting tooth and claw to get in the position that they're in, and why are they, like, that doesn't make sense. Why do they have to face the 2-0 person to try to figure out who the number one contender is going to be, when before this person even came along, they were already a lock for being the number one contender? So it's quite silly. It's quite silly. Decent match, but when you just look at the logistics about all that and the innuendo there, the backdoor shit, it's just, the champion, that 90-pound homegirl, been off TV for so many weeks that I forgot her freaking name. Rhea, I think is her name. She was in the crowd, basically doing the Britt Baker face. And for me, that was just, I didn't understand that on so many levels. To the point. And y'all got to feel me on this one. All right, so Chris Statlander defeats Britt Baker and everything. Tony Schiavone comes in, interviews Statlander, and then Brandy arrives. And she dismisses Tony, praises Statlander. Once again, she's trying to do the whole recruiting of Statlander into her Nightmare Collective or whatever. Sounds like a alternate group that's not Collective Soul, basically. Seriously. But anyway, that might be way over your head for you younger fans out there. Go look up Collective Soul. Bing, Google that. They had some good hits back in the day. But yeah, once again, he had, Brandy had tried to recruit Chris Statlander for her Nightmare Collective. Statlander refused. Kong, Melanie Cruz, they had arrived. Brandy would attack with the spiked part of her heel to Statlander, looked like she hit her good in the eyes and then rolled out. Now, this is my whole thing. You had your AEW Women's Champion that was sitting there ringside. Oh my God! And I don't know. She's supposed to be like the ultimate babyface right now, right? This is the 90-pound fucking miracle, right? That can just do any and everything, and no matter the odds, she's able to come out of those things on top, right? So, I don't know. Now that you have, I don't know, your new number one contender that's crowned, that is going to be facing the AEW Women's Champion, don't you think it makes a little bit of sense for, I don't know, the champion to go in there for the save, try to help Chris Statlander clean house and everything, and they retreat, right? They retreat, and then you have Chris Statlander and the AEW Women's Champion look at each other, and homegirl in her own language could basically just say, hey, I did what I did because I don't want no excuses when you and me lock up for my championship. Yeah? See ya. Good luck to you. And that's it, right? That was a great opportunity to utilize your women's champion, and I don't know who's booking this shit, but it just really came off that it was more about Brandy. And that's the really big problem that I have right now. It really, really is. That's the biggest problem that I have right now, which is you've got these champions, and with the exception of Jericho and kind of Moxley and Jungle Boy in there and everything, like nobody is really definitively involved in a feud with somebody, you know, over their title and everything. And so for me, I look at what's going on with that women's championship. That would have been a great opportunity, like I said earlier, for Homegirl to just slide on in there and everything. But it felt more like this was about getting Brandy over. This was more about getting her stable over. And I don't like that type of message that you're sending, that basically, no, this is more important than our women's championship. What we're doing with this is more important. I don't like that vibe. Now, if you want to do like what you did with the Dark Order closing out the show, okay, I'm down with that. But here's how you make it come full circle and everything, right? Also, this is how you build up rivalries. And if you want to kind of, well, let's put on hiatus for now the women's championship because this is a more pressing issue that needs to be tackled storyline wise. You could have did everything that I just said. Set up your match with Chris Statlander and what's the other, Rio, right? And then you have the Nightmare Collective step in there and they just fuck everything up. We don't get a decisive winner, right? Okay, alliances now need to be formed because the stuff that Brandy's doing right now, good God almighty. All right, so now you've got Brandy, you got Melanie Cruz, you got Awesome Kong. Okay, all right, so you got three girls. We know they got a guy in there, but you know, we don't care for him right now. We'll just focus on the women, right? Okay, so now you've got Chris Statlander, you've got frickin' Rio, right? If you want to a degree, you could eventually have Britt Baker slide up in there, or gee, I don't know, for storyline continuity. As far as I know, Allie never did extract revenge for what Kong and Brandy did to her some weeks back. And then all of a sudden, she's off TV for a little bit, and then we see her as Dark Alley, basically, or the Bunny, right? So, a lot of stuff that needs some tweaking in the coming weeks going into the new year and everything. And I agree with what MY is saying in the chat. He's saying in AEW, is everyone recruiting? Inner Circle, Dark Order, Stop It. I agree to a certain extent. You got to chill with all of this whole recruiting thing that's going on. And to your point, I'll see your point and I'll raise you. I mean, basically, you've got the Inner Circle, right? You've got the Dark Order. You've got Nightmare Collective, right? You know what is starting to become in AEW? You know what is starting to become? It's fucking starting to become Fable or Elder Scrolls. It's like, you know, it's really starting to feel like that. Do you want to join the Knighthood, the Knighthood Brotherhood, or whatever the fuck the join is? Do you want to join that, or do you want to join this? It's like out of one of those video games with those stables that they got. And yes, I agree with you guys, because it's like after a while, okay, it's like all these goddamn factions. It's kind of, you know, hard to keep track of who's who and everything. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, my friend. So let's see what else we got here. What else can we cover here? So we had that match. I think at this point we only got one more match to cover, and then we could talk NXT for a bit. We had the champions SCU. I believe this was for the tag titles too. They had took on the Young Bucks. This was your main event match. It only went about 10 minutes and some change. We did see SCU defeat the Young Bucks. It was by pinfall, if I remember it right, because I was starting to get ready for the show at this point. Dark Order had arrived, and they basically were there for a initiation. The Creepers that had included Reynolds and Silver. Remember, we talked about it on the show last week. Those guys had signed contracts with AEW. Well, they were in there, and along with the Creepers, they attacked SCU and they attacked the Bucks. Daniels gets in there. He gets a beat down. Kenny is in there as well. Dustin, Cody, they're in there. They get taken out. Adam Page, nowhere to be found. Dark Order just basically cleans frickin' house. as Reynolds and Silver, they officially received their mask. I wonder if those masks, by the way, I wonder if those were 100% authentic Creeper mask, or if those were masks that were purchased from Pro Wrestling Tees as part of a mystery crate. I can't help but wonder that, you know? By the way, where is the love for Pro Wrestling Tees? I'm watching Ring of Honor and a couple other promotions, and I see all this love for, hey, if you want to get merch, go here, go here, go here. I need to see in 2020 AEW, I need to see more merchandise plug-in. That's great you guys are doing the stuff with the social media plug-in and everything, but I need to see more plugging of y'all's Pro Wrestling Tee store and all that, right? Hook a brother up. I need to see that more. But yeah, so Creepers standing tall with the Dark Order. I still don't care about the Dark Order. I still don't care about... Now look, that spot that they did on one of the Bucks, Dark Uno had put his hand into, I think it was Matt Jackson. He put it in his mouth and looked like he was maybe ripped his tongue, or he did something, because all of a sudden there was blood that was on his fingertips, and you see a little bit of blood dripping out of Matt's mouth. I mean, it was a beautiful visual. I wish that there was more color. That was my only complaint. I wish there was more color, because it kind of looked as though Matt just maybe was snacking on some flaming hot Cheetos, and Uno just freaking and you just see a little bit of tiny Cheeto residue. You know, I wish there was more color in there, but I think it's one of those things where, for me, when I look back on the Dark Order, I wish it was a case where they would have started off with the vignettes and everything, and then this is one of those instances where they did the reverse. You feel me? And that just, first impressions mean everything. And when you operate that way, and you got people that's just dangling out there, the fans, and they're trying to put together, and, why should I care? And the fans didn't care about Dark Order. They cared about everybody else. They cared about the Codys, they cared about the Dustins, they cared about everybody else except for the Dark Order. They tolerated the Dark Order. They tolerated the Dark Order because of all the other guys that was involved in that. And what the flying hell Cody and them obsession is with the Dark Order is beyond me. I'm trying to hang in there, and I'm trying to see the big payoff. I will say this, not to be crapping all over it, I'm loving the little video packages that they've been doing, and if anything, I want to see more of it. Even though they've now recruited who they've recruited, I still want to continue to see more from them. So hopefully they'll do that, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. But AEW tonight, I gotta say, with regards to some of the matches, just looking at the match card one more time here. For me, as far as matches of the night, I'll definitely give a nod to the Lucha Brothers taking on Kenny Omega and Paige. I'll give that a nod. Let's see, what's another one here? Looking at the rest of the card. I actually like Jungle Boy taking on Chris Jericho. I'll give that a nod as well. And I'll give an honorable mention to SCU taking on the Young Bucks. Those would be the three matches for me that I'm looking at. So, average show tonight, I would have to say. To the point, let's go to the poll right now. I got a poll up on Twitter asking you guys, what did you think of this week's AEW Dynamite, the final AEW Dynamite for 2019. And right now, I am seeing... Hang on a second here. Okay, here we go. No. That's not what I want to do. I want to retweet that. Hang on a second here, guys. I just want to retweet this real quick. And we did it. All right, so we got 102 votes right now. And I'm seeing that 28% of you gave it a thumbs down. 72% of you gave it a thumbs up. So, interesting results right there. By the way, I got the NXT poll that's up a little early. Cast your votes. I mean, the voting is still relatively small right now, but right now I'm seeing 100% of folks giving it a thumbs up for this week. Yeah, NXT this week, man, good God almighty, to have 2 championship matches, right, in one night. You open up with your NXT World Heavyweight Championship. It doesn't get any sweeter than that. You're going to open things up with your NXT Championship? Like, really? Okay, and how are you going to close out your show? Oh, simple. We're going to have the NXT Women's title. That's going to be the main event. I'm in heaven. Yeah, I got to tell you, the way they executed it there, NXT tonight, I got to give them mad props for that. Because, okay, and normally you could go, okay, well, other than your opening and your closing, in between was, but no, this is a case where even in between, it was actually good. So NXT Championship, Adam Cole taking on Finn Balor, pretty fucking solid. That match went about almost 17 minutes. Adam Cole coming out of that on top. Closing moments of that one, we saw Cole avoid the coup de grace, and Finn's leg gave out on him. Actually, I remember it. There was a last shot to the back of the head that somehow only got a near fall. Cole wants to try it again as he points the finger guns at Balor. Finn has enough time to counter, does a drop kick. Coup de grace connects that time, follows it up with the 1916 attempt, but Johnny Gargano, of all people, slowly approaches the stage ramp area. This distraction basically sets up Finn Balor, who's like, what the hell is going on here? And the referee's kind of looking over at Johnny Gargano, wondering what the hell is going on. Allows Adam Cole to hit Balor with a low blow, last shot, to retain the championship. After that, Johnny Gargano continues to slowly move in there, grabs a steel chair, surrounds Finn Balor, who's starting to back off a little bit, does a little bit of begging as well. Gargano hits him with the chair a couple of times. Nice good assault on him. That was good. Yeah, laid him out real nice and good. I loved that. I loved it. Loved it tremendously. That was good. But yeah, that was about almost 16, 17 minutes of a good, strong opener. Enjoyed that one. Next matchup, you had Damian Priest. Damian Priest had took on Killian Dane. That one was actually pretty damn good as well. Nice slobber knocker. Just 2 big dudes. Just that Damian Priest dude, I got to give him a lot of props, man. He just continues to impress the hell out of me. He continues to impress the hell out of me. He is somebody that I think is going to do extremely well on the main roster when his time comes. You know, if they're even looking at him like that to consider for the main roster. But, you know, I'm not going to flirt with that. That's further down the line, if it's even going to happen at all. But I like his look. I like his overall presentation. Again, this is somebody I've known about off and on in the independents when he was Punishment Martinez and everything. So, but this has really been my first, okay, now I'm really getting able, now I really have the ability to check you out on a weekly basis and really double down on what I think about you. I've seen you from a distance, but now I get you on my TV every week. Now I can really assess. And I quickly becoming a big fan of this damn dude. And yeah, his match against Killian Dane tonight, fucking clinic, man. Love that one. I got no complaints about that one whatsoever. Killian Dane, he's another one. I can't help but look at Killian Dane and I can't help but wonder, man, would he really be successful if you take him out of the NXT bubble? Would he be as successful on the main event roster? And I'm not exactly too sure about that. I'm really not. I mean, when you look at, and don't get me wrong, I think that what's going on with Heavy Machinery, with Otis and everything, I mean, that's great. I mean, he's got personality, he's got great character and everything. You know, that's awesome. But when I look at a guy like Killian Dane, I can't help but wonder if that's a guy that's eventually going to go the Gene Snitsky route. You know, and you know I'm not talking about the beginning of Gene Snitsky. I'm talking about when they were doing the slap comedy stuff, the silly, stupid shit with him, because there was that period. And by the time they tried to rebuild him, it was kind of already too late. The damage was done. So I look at a guy like Killian Dane and I can't help but wonder, you know, or if you do this guy right, this could be your serious Rhino meets Samoa Joe rolled up in one, you know, just as he is right now, just amplified a little bit more. So that's kind of a question mark right now, but yeah, he's another one that I'm continuing to be impressed with. For a big dude got some speed to him. Dude is very versatile. Got to give it up to him. Cameron Grimes took on Kushida. Cameron Grimes coming out of that one on top. Actually, a little bit that I saw, because I'm not going to lie about that one. I didn't see most of that matchup because I was really staying glued to AEW at that point. Out of 100%, I'd say I probably saw about maybe 30% of that matchup. Verizon, give your man a holler. I've been waiting for a picture-in-picture feature on my remote to be activated for years now. Why you guys are not activating that for us customers? Have the slightest fucking clue. Make it happen already, man. Now, one match that I did pay attention to, because one of my favorites, I go back to watching this woman back when she was doing her thing in Shine and a few other places. Santana Garrett taking on Io Shirai. Enjoyed this one tremendously. My God, this was awesome. And this was Santana Garrett's second outing on NXT TV and everything. I loved it. I loved this one. I mean, look, it was a short match. I'm not going to fake. It was a short match. It went about, if you were lucky, 5 minutes long. But just a little bit that I was able to see. And I love the commentating by particularly Beth Phoenix, because it was really highlighted that, hey, Santana Garrett, you know, home country girl, sweet southern girl there, she has been on the independents for many years and just one match at a time, wrestling for many promotions, you know, for everything to get to the point where she is now in her career. I just love how Beth and them were just really hyping up and really selling fans on Santana Garrett and everything, and I'm happy she's part of the WWE bubble. This is somebody, like I said, I've watched her in Shine and watched her in Impact Wrestling. Didn't particularly care for how they did her in Impact. I felt it was totally off the mark how they did her. This was a great opportunity that they had in working with Santana Garrett to really help their women's division out even more, and they poorly had utilized her, and I was happy. I was happy when she was done with them and she was going back to the independents. Everything culminating with her doing her thing for WOW, Women of Wrestling. And I'm glad. I've always said, and I've been consistent with this, Santana Garrett is somebody that should have been in the WWE 5 to 7 years ago. That goddamn good. So I'm happy that she's in there now and everything. And even though she essentially was fed to Io Shirai, I can also appreciate, just from the booking standpoint, that at least they made Santana Garrett look pretty strong against Io, to the point of, hey, this is not gonna be just, oh man, this is easy. This is easy as pie. They made it a real challenge for Io. So, you know, for me, I enjoyed that. Io too, man. My God, Io. Two beautiful, stunning women. I gotta tell you, two beautiful, stunning women. Let's go to our next matchup. Pete Dunne defeating Travis Banks. This went about 10 minutes and some change. This one was pretty good. I watched about maybe I watched about maybe 50% of this one because at this point I was starting to get the show set up for you guys. This one was actually pretty good as well. Technical. If you were looking for technical, this was definitely the match for you. Whether you wanted to look at the Kiwi Crusher or Slice of Heaven, or you were looking for a little bit of everything. Everything was in this matchup. Everything was in this matchup. You had a little bit of technical stuff that was going on in there, tiny little bit of some high flying stuff, but really mat based. This is one of your nice, good traditional match. I actually like this one as well, just a little bit that I had saw. Kathy Kelly had interviewed Dakota Kai about Mia Yim putting her through a table. Dakota Kai said that the only thing that matters is she won, and she's going to keep doing that until she's champion. Next week, we got a plug for NXT. Oh, yeah. Even though AEW may not be on the air next week due to Christmas, NXT is going to be new. We're going to see Roderick Strong. He's going to be issuing a open challenge. And also on next week's NXT, Leo Rush and Keith Lee will be taking on Tony Nese and Damian Priest. That should be a good one. Main event match, NXT Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler defending the title against Rhea Ripley. What a fucking clinic. Love this one. Love this one. This one went about a little bit over 20 minutes. Man, this was classic. And then to see Jasmine Duke, Marina Sharif come out, and you're going, God damn, it's the numbers game once again. Is there anybody that's maybe going to come to the aid of Rhea Ripley here? What's going to happen here? And yeah, man, that was just because it was a numbers game. They just pouted on her big time. And as far as what I remember, nobody came to the aid of Rhea Ripley. Yeah, they came out, did a run in. Rhea Ripley, she knocks them back. They kind of tripped up on Shayna and everything. Shayna waits, hits with her knee and everything. Match continues. Now, what I can't remember is if the ref had kicked them out. I can't remember that. I know during the break, Shayna kept the pressure on the arm because I think they did a picture to picture. Yeah, they were ejected. Duke and Sharif, they were ejected from ringside. Doctors were checking on Rhea, trying to figure out if she could keep going and everything. And Shayna just going in for the fucking kill, man. She's like, nah, man, I smell blood. I'm going to stay on this. I loved it. I ate it up. And closing moments of this one, we saw the referee. He had tried to go for, he was getting ready to throw out the match here, according to my notes. He was getting ready to throw out the match because it looked as though Rhea Ripley maybe had passed out because he was raising her arm up. And the whole deal, raise the arm up 3 times. That third time, if you don't come to, safe to say, yeah, okay, we can say this match is over. But Rhea on that third time, she held her arm up strong and she just had her Hulkamania moment. She was hawking up and shit. And eventually she was able to escape what was that move? The Karafuda clutch. She was able to escape it. Start stomping the hell out of Shayna's head. Crosses Shayna's legs. Hangs her up in a prism. Then fights for the ropes. Kicks Rhea to the corner to try to get free. Pump knee follows up. Shayna tries to set her up. Slaps the hell out of her. Stops trash talking. Gets hit. Rhea connects with the Riptide. Picks up the W and the win. Rhea Ripley, your new NXT Women's Champion. God, what an impressive long title reign there from my girl Shayna Baszler too. That was one long ass impressive title reign. And I'm speechless just thinking about it. Wow. Is all I gotta say. Wow. So the final NXT of 2019, we're not gonna have Shayna Baszler as the new, or still your NXT women's champion. No. We're not going to go in that direction. Instead, we're going in a new direction, which is Rhea Ripley. And look, WWE could have continued to ride Shayna Baszler. If they wanted to, they could have rolled her going into Royal Rumble weekend. They could have rolled her going into WrestleMania if they wanted to, but they made the decision that they wanted to go in a different direction, and I am all okay for it. Of course, you're going to have the speculation be put out there, which is, so what's next for Shayna Baszler? What's going to happen with her now? Is she main roster bound? I'm sure that's, if it hasn't already been put out already, I would like to believe that it's gonna be out before the weekend hits. And I get that. You've already had a couple of rumblings there that Shayna Baszler, this was before she even dropped the title. You had a couple of rumblings out there that maybe she was going to be dropping the title and move up to the main roster, that maybe she was going to be coming up on the Raw side of things to eventually feud with Becky Lynch, because there's a little bit of unresolved issues and everything, not to mention they could use a great talent like her, and that, yeah, Shayna Baszler, slide her up in there. Maybe you can have Shayna taking on Becky at WrestleMania for the title, right? So, hey, that would be kind of cool to see. I'll tell you this much. I would not want to see Becky Lynch go over, because I'm sorry, but for me, I look at Charlotte, I look at Shayna Baszler, I can even look at Io Shirai, I can look at Mia Yim, I can look at Lacey Evans even, and I can look at them as legitimate fucking badasses that will fucking tear your arm off. They will bring you the pain. With Becky Lynch, all I see is just a person that just talks a whole bunch of shit, talks a good hot game. The man this, the man that, the man's gonna, that's all I see. A chicken black, red hair. If it wasn't for that busted nose moment, come on, let's be honest. If it wasn't for that, and look, I like Becky Lynch, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that the girl had her breakout moment and everything, but what we thought was going to be a really cool direction, just feeding off of the whole blood nose thing and then everything that was going on with Ronda and everything, it just really took a weird turn. And I think it took a weird turn for the worse. Maybe you could kind of make the argument that what ended up happening with Becky Lynch was that she got too commercialized. And as a result of getting too commercialized, she got watered down in the process. You could essentially kind of say that to a certain degree, right? I don't want to put the whole spotlight on Becky, because that's an entirely different, that's almost its whole respected segment for like 20-30 minutes just analyzing that. I don't know, maybe I'll bring that up on one of the holiday shows that we're getting ready to do for you guys, but I'm going to leave that alone for now. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go in that direction with Shayna Baszler and everything, I would say why not? I mean, you had an interview that Stephanie McMahon had conducted. I don't know the people by hand that did the interview with her, but I was a little bit irritated because they quoted Stephanie McMahon saying that Ronda Rousey is going to be coming back at any moment now. It's just a matter of when and where. And I go to these people's website trying to see exactly, okay, so I saw nothing about the Stephanie McMahon interview. I saw no teasers. I saw nothing. I didn't see anything as far as the interview is going to be released on this day. I saw nothing, and it just kind of made me go, okay, so we're doing this quote, but we don't have an article that people can read. We don't have an audio snippet. We don't have anything. Now, I'm not saying it's bogus, because the people that had mentioned this quote of hers, they got a blue check mark. So they're legit. They are a legit news media outlet. And so you're okay, but still, you do this interview with one of the biggest personalities in WWE, in one of the most prime positions in WWE, and you don't think it common sense wise to put some teaser audio out there. And I've seen a lot of my friends and colleagues that work in the field of reporting news of all types, sports or whatever. And if there's some teaser audio or teaser script highlights of an interview they conducted with somebody, you're able to see it or you're able to hear it. So for these guys to not do it, it was just, But if Ronda Rousey, is in fact going to be coming back, hey, I would love to see the perfect place for her to come back would be Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble would be awesome to see her come back. I'd be ecstatic if she were to come back by Royal Rumble time. But having Shayna Baszler in the mix on the Raw brand, and then just the idea of her eventually mixing it up with Ronda Rousey too, and for a women's title, yeah, man, sign me the fuck up. I definitely would love to see that. So yeah, NXT tonight, I gotta say it was an overall better show compared to AEW Dynamite. We'll see what happens in the ratings because stranger things have happened. Just when we think that, well, nah, as far as the presentation, the quality of the matches and everything, the edge goes here. But then when we see the ratings, it does not reflect that. So, but just looking with your own two eyes, the NXT brand had the overall better product tonight compared to AEW. So very curious what's going to be happening next week. Now, see, this is the real thing I'm going to be paying attention to, which is, that's great. AEW is trying to be the type of company where, hey, when it comes to major holidays that hit on a Wednesday, nah, man, be with your family like everybody else in the country is doing. We're not going to do a show. That's great. What I'm going to be paying attention to, and I think what most people need to be paying attention to, is two-parter. One, for next Wednesday, how well does NXT do without any competition? How much of extra viewerships are they going to be able to gain from the people that would normally otherwise be checking out AEW, or maybe those that keep going back and forth? I'm curious, now that you just have one alternative, now that the Wednesday Night War has been at it for several weeks now, right? Okay, now you got AEW not on. How's WWE NXT going to do? But then here's the second part to that. The week afterwards, how much of that is WWE going to be able to maintain to the point? Are they going to be able to have a one-up for a week or two once AEW Dynamite is back into rotation? Those are going to be the things that I'm going to be paying attention to, and I think that needs to be the elements that you all need to be paying attention to as well, for those of you that have been paying attention to what's been happening with the ratings numbers and everything. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So a couple of some news items I want to get into. Actually, before we go into the news items, let's get into some quick programming notes. I'll get into some programming notes, and then we'll go into some wrestling news items before we wrap it up. At this point, I'm saying we've been recording for about an hour and 12 minutes now. We'll probably take it up to maybe about 90 minutes. We'll see. I don't really have that many news items, but it's not going to be a 2-hour show tonight. I can definitely promise you that. It's not even going to be a hour, 45-minute show. I'm picturing about maybe an hour, 30 minutes at most. So we're almost done for tonight. So quick programming notes. All right. So your next edition is going to be coming at you guys on Monday, December the 23rd. We'll be coming on after Raw goes off the air. And then other than that, now look, we got a show from NXT. They're doing their thing on Christmas. That's fantastic. I'm happy for them, but that's Christmas. I'm going to be spending time with my family and friends, and yeah, I'm not doing the show. So after that December 23rd episode, we are pretty much on a nice little break until Monday, the following Monday, which will be December 30th. You'll get another episode after Raw goes off the air. And then with New Year's Eve, followed up with New Year's Day. I know AEW is going to have, well, both of those guys should have a new show on Wednesday, January 1st. But I'm actually going to be on hiatus. I will be taking the rest of that respective week off as well. So basically, 2 shows, 2 Mondays, nothing else for the rest of the week. We'll be back into regular rotation of things on Monday, January 6th, and that is officially going to be the jumpstart to year 8 of the RCWR show. Do I have my years mixed up? Let me think real quick here. 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19. No. We're actually celebrating year 8 right now. November, we had hit our 8-year anniversary. So what I'm essentially saying is basically, on to year 9. So to speak. But basically, we got some new stuff that's going to be all rolled out on January 6th. We're going to have a new show logo. Everything's already done, too. We're going to have a new show logo. We're going to have new graphics. Everything is going to be really fucking cool. I'm playing around with some other cool features as well. I cannot wait. It's fucking awesome, everything that I got lined up for the first show in January. Also, at this point, we are almost 70 days away from C2E2 in Chicago. And in case you guys forgot, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders has been invited to cover the event as part of press media. So I'm actually going to be making a return to the Windy City to cover that event, and I'm ecstatic for that. I am waiting to hear back on some logistics, just kind of following up to what we talked about on Monday's show. As far as a panel goes, I am supposed to be a part of a panel, but I'm not sure if even the panel is going to be happening. I'm still waiting to hear the official word on that, but for now, from a press media standpoint, I know I'm definitely going to be there to cover the event. When I know more, I'll definitely be sharing the news with you guys. Let's get into a couple of some news items here. So, in case you missed it, Primo from Primo and Epico. Some of you guys are probably like, wait a minute, I didn't even know these guys were still in the WWE. What the fuck? Primo and Robert Roode, they were suspended for violating the WWE wellness policy. Okay? Primo actually was very vocal about what all happened. Bobby Roode, on the other hand, has remained silent. So let me talk about Bobby Roode first. Bobby Roode is one that kind of surprises me because I remember, Impact Wrestling, TNA, I've been watching that guy that long, and he never seemed like somebody that, he's on the roids. It's obvious he's on the juice. He never seemed like that. He's, for the most part, had the same build. If anything, as he got older, it just came off as if maybe he was being more smarter about what he was putting into his body, trying to figure out ways to, eat the right types of food and get the carbs down pretty low and everything, low carb diet or whatever. And it just seemed as though naturally he had a decent build that was going on. But I would like to hear more from him because this is the first time, as long as I have been following the career of Bobby Roode, this is the first time I've ever heard of something where, he's felt some type of a wellness policy. So if he's innocent in any type of way, if there was a mix-up or whatever, I really would like for him to get in front of it as soon as possible. Even if you don't have all your evidence piled up together just yet, even if it's just a case where it's a mix-up, there's just a misunderstanding, the sooner you get in front of the story and you put out a press release, the better. Even if the only thing you can say is, hey, at this time, this is what's going on. I'm working diligently to get all the necessary paperwork. They've got their side to the story. I've got my side. Please stay tuned and appreciate all of you all's continued support. Just get in front of it and put something out there. And that's why I have a lot of respect for Primo, because Primo and Epico, they're guys that, wait a minute, Primo's in trouble? Wellness policy? what the fuck? Primo suspended just like Bobby Roode, and he was very vocal about it. So apparently he was doing some events down in Puerto Rico, and WWE hit him up and they said, hey, we need you to get tested. And Primo, in a nutshell, and I'm paraphrasing everything here, I'm just giving you guys the bullet points. Primo basically says to WWE, okay, well, do you want me to come all the way out there to get the testing done or what? And they wanted him to come out there and get the testing. Now, keep in mind, with regards to getting the testing done and everything, this is basically involving Primo coming out of his own pocket to travel from Puerto Rico to come back into the States to get the testing done, and then take care of his own travel back to Puerto Rico, does what he needs to do. So WWE not flipping the bill for this, or at least not even meeting him halfway. Okay, well, give us your itinerary and how much, give us receipts and all right, we'll give you half or whatever. Nah, he's coming out of his pocket for everything. So he comes up with an idea, which is, well, hey, look, rather than come all the way out there and then got to go right back around, how about I just go to a clinic or something out here, get the testing done, and fax you all the results. Is that okay? He never hears back from the WWE. And so he was, now this is where I always like to tell people, never assume. Because when you assume, you make an ass out of yourself. When you assume, right? You assume without crossing off everything. Yeah, that's not good. I don't want to go into something assuming. I want to go into something knowing that I'm right and that these are the facts, right? So he really should have stayed on top of WWE and been like, what's going on with this wellness policy thing, this testing thing? What do you want me to do? I'm waiting to hear back from you guys. What do you want me to do? And even if it was a case where they said to him, well, don't worry about it, we'll push it off until, I would have been like, okay, can you give that to me in writing? Give me some type of a memo, give me an email, give me something that I can easily have at my end so that if there's any discrepancies in a couple of weeks, I can just refer to this and I'm covered. But he didn't do it like that, so he just basically went on about his business and he got suspended as a result. Sounds pretty fucked up, don't it? Yeah, but that's what happened with him. But he put all of this out on social media and everything, saying basically what had happened, and yeah, just no response from them whatsoever, and that's pretty much how they did him. So I wouldn't blame Primo if he looked at that and just decided, you know what, I just want to be done with this company already, because if they're going to be operating like this, fuck it. That's just petty all the way around. Fuck it. And I wouldn't blame him. Also, if you guys did not get a chance, check out John Morrison. He was on WWE's The Bump, and he had talked a bit more on him coming back to the WWE. And he's pretty much doubled down on something that he's always said, that he's always been consistent of, which is he's always intended to come back to the WWE. And I don't really think that should be a shock to people. He's always, in every single interview that I've seen him in for as long as we've been doing the shows, he's always talked passionately about coming back to the WWE. He just wanted to take a little bit of break and look into some acting careers and test out the independents for a little bit. He always looked at himself being gone for just, a year or two, and you see the end result. You saw what had happened, and, he didn't think that he would be gone this long, and when he realized that, damn, 10 years is almost creeping up, better get back to the WWE sooner rather than later. So it was awesome. It was really awesome. Miz was on that episode as well. And it was good. It was fun. A lot of good laughs, good stories in there. If you haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend you guys check it out. You won't be disappointed. It was good shit. It really, really was. And look, I'm happy that he's back. I think we talked about it, if not on Monday's show last week. We had talked about all the different matches and shit that John Morrison could have, and we all collectively were just throwing names out there and shit, and it was kind of one of those, man, if we keep throwing names, we're going to be at it all night. So, but yeah, so it's great that he's back. I'm hoping that he's one that we're going to be surprised with of the Rumble for this coming year. I think you gotta have him be in there for the Rumble. That would be nice. But check that out when you guys get an opportunity. We got these reports that's coming about with Kairi Sane. You notice I didn't talk about it on Monday's show. And that's because I'm at a point, and I've been at a point in my life where when it comes to doing these shows, I don't want to be so quick to race to judgment. I don't want to be so quick to report something. If I'm getting ready to talk about something, I want to be talking about something that is matter of fact and not speculation. So in a case of the Kairi Sane injury that supposedly happened at the TLC pay-per-view, and everybody's kind of going, well, surely, I looked at the match and okay, yeah, that particular spot, that looks questionable. That looks like maybe that's where possibly a concussion might have went down. Yeah, sure. But you have all of these podcasts and websites, they're all basically saying the same thing, which is, hey, supposedly, reportedly, there's nothing definitively. And for me, I just really wish that we could see a case where an official statement, somebody, Sports Illustrated, Fightful, somebody challenges WWE and says, hey, what is going on with Kairi Sane? What is the official report that you can put out there pertaining to her health? What's the 411? And I'll have to rely on you guys a little bit. I have it on the DVR. I didn't particularly care to watch the episode once I found out who all were going to be the guests, though, especially once I found out CM Punk wasn't going to be on it. But I'm curious, did they even mention Kairi Sane's injury? Because I know sometimes they do Ryan Satin, and he's got his satin sheet thing. So if they didn't even have the common sense to mention it on that, then you got to forgive me if I'm not really going all goo goo gaga over the supposed injury and all that. I mean, and for those of you kind of wondering what was going on with WWE backstage, well, when you have guests like Amber Moon and Alexa Bliss, yeah, I'm good. I don't really need to watch that. I'm good. To the point, the ratings for this week's backstage actually was low. They only did about 95,000, and I think they had a cable rating of 0.5. And compared to last week was a little bit low too, but I think last week was at about 100. I think it was somewhere between 121 to 137,000. So yeah, that was this past Tuesday. That was a pretty low viewed episode, and I don't blame the fans. Like, really, we're gonna stay up at 11 o'clock to watch Amber Moon and Alexa Bliss? No, we're good. Like those girls, but no, we're good. Really, we're good. So, hey, for those of you that have been wanting to check out The Undertaker, maybe you've been trying to get in a position where you can get a really cool photo op with him, or you can get an autograph, some stuff like that. There's something badass that's going to be coming up. Now, whenever he does these signings, it's rare. It is rare. You might be able to get yourself Ric Flair and a couple of other guys, but Undertaker, rare shit. So check this out. He's been announced for an appearance at the LAX Fan Fest. It's going to be going down on February 29th. Kind of convenient it's going on that same day that AEW's Rebellion pay-per-view is going to be going down, yeah? But anyway, it's going to be happening at the Hilton at the Los Angeles airports. And I actually took a look at the tickets. For those of you that are interested in purchasing tickets, they are available at the Gemini Sports Cards site. Just type it in, all one word, GeminiSportsCards.com. And the showtimes, early entry, 8:30 a.m., $25. General admission, 9:30 a.m., $15. Again, showtimes, early entry, 8:30 a.m., you got to pay $25. General admission is at 9:30 a.m., that's $15. The door closes at 5 p.m., and again, it's at the LAX Hilton at 5711 West Century Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90045. Check this out. These tickets are very limited, and once they sell out, that's it. They're not doing a situation where, hey, the first wave of tickets are gone, we're gonna do another batch since you guys were so no, once they're gone, they're gone. So check this out. You want an autograph from The Undertaker? Maybe you got a World Heavyweight Championship belt running around. WWF title. Maybe you got an Undertaker mask or something, or a hat. You get the point I'm making. You want one autograph from The Undertaker. It's going to cost you $209.95. It's pretty pricey, yeah? Now, maybe you want a picture with The Undertaker. For one photo with The Undertaker, with your own camera, that's going to cost you $209.95. Now, if you want to get the FanFest LAX Gold Entry bracelet, that's going to be $25.50. Remember that from earlier, right? And then if you want to get the 930, that's going to be $16.50. But I mean, just home in on that. Home in on that. $209. Now, that's pretty steep, you know, but think about it from this standpoint. You're paying for the autograph and or photo op of somebody that rarely does these things, because a lot of times Taker's people has to get the okay from the WWE, right? But it's rare he's doing stuff like this. So if you're like most people, well, I don't really care about the photo op. But then it's kind of cool to do a photo op, because here's a really cool moment where in a brief moment of time, you and this other person that you grew up with are sharing the same space. You know, you're there at the same time, right? Somehow everything has aligned, and for this brief period of time, you guys are together, and this is your opportunity to shake a legend's hand and tell them how much you've appreciated all of their contributions to the sport of professional wrestling and sports entertainment, and enjoy a nice, cool picture with them, right? Same thing when it comes to the autograph and all that. What you're paying for is the experience. That's what it's all about. You're paying for the experience. You're paying for the memory, right? So, you know, for me, if he was doing this in the DC metropolitan area, I would be on it. I would definitely be on it. True story. And I don't know how close it came, but I remember when I went to see CM Punk for his Pro Wrestling Tees signing a couple of years ago, there was rumblings that Undertaker was close to inking a deal with Pro Wrestling Tees, and that he was actually going to be doing something. And I never did. And I could follow up and see, you know, are they even close to that, you know, or did things fall out? What happened? But I remember the guy I was talking to, because he was with his son, the guy I was talking to, because I asked him, I said, how accurate is this? And he had a friend that knew somebody at the time that had worked in Pro Wrestling Tees. And so it was kind of like secondhand information like that. And it was, okay. And I remember my girl said to me, oh shit, so I suppose we're coming back to Chicago if Taker's going to be here. Yeah, I said, yeah, oh yeah, hell yeah. But it never happened. So so I mean, look, if you're going to be in the Los Angeles area, or you know a family member or somebody, because you never know, some of you guys, you may be in a position where, hey, I got $200 and something. I need something signed. Hey, I wonder if Aunt Helen, wonder if I mail her my title, if, you know, she'll go and get Taker's autograph for me. That'd be fucking badass or whatever. So, if you know somebody that's going to be in the area, there's the information. Once again, head over to GeminiSportsCards.com, and as soon as you go to the website, that is actually, and let me make sure, because I want to make sure as soon as you land on the home page, Taker's logo and all that shit is the very first thing that you guys will see. So you cannot miss it. So yeah, if he ever comes to the DC metropolitan area, I'm definitely gonna be checking that out. Fightful is reporting that with regards to Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, and Lars Sullivan, their injuries. Look like Samoa Joe is expected to return soon. Kind of knew about that. For those of you wondering what's been going on with EC3, EC3 has been out with a concussion, which is being described as being worse than the ones he's had in the past. No timetable on when he's expected to return. Jinder Mahal, he was originally expected to be back in January, but that was moved to November 1st, but obviously that's now come and gone, so that's kind of up in the air right now. Maybe he could be back any moment now, maybe as early as this coming Monday, right? Maybe you'll see it on those tapings that they did already for this week. Maybe coming up Royal Rumble time, you never know. Jeff Hardy was expected back in action in early November, but he is still out of action, mainly taking care of some personal matters, some legal issues. His contract was extended as a result to the missed time. And as you guys saw, Elias hasn't wrestled on TV after his return. Supposedly, he's not cleared to return just yet. He worked a live event match last week with Dolph Ziggler. So, yeah. Nia Jax is currently at the Performance Center getting ready for her return. She's expected to be back in January, as is Ruby Riott. Xavier Woods is still out of action. He's got a torn Achilles. And while his evaluation date was originally June, that got moved up to May. So who knows? Maybe he is a show away. Or maybe he's a Royal Rumble type of deal. Who knows? Lars Sullivan. He's been training, but supposedly not close to returning. It's expected that he's going to be back in June 2020. I call that bullshit. I don't think it's going to be 2020. Supposedly his recovery is going down much slower than expected. I'm not really sure about all that. So, I mean, of course, when you're hearing all of these reports with the injuries, take them all with a grain of salt, right? But, I mean, look, with regards to the Nia Jax, the Ruby Riott, for the women's division, that's a great thing, especially with Ronda on the horizon, getting ready to pop up sooner than later. Man, that's really fucking awesome. So at least it's going to be the women's division. At least it's going to be more complete, right? Samoa Joe, I touched upon this on Monday. I hope the guy does not leave that announcer's table. I love him at commentating. He's fucking phenomenal. He is fucking phenomenal at commentating. So, also, shout out to Killer Kross. He is somebody that I have been a big fan of, definitely a supporter. He finally was granted his release from Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling had released an official statement on their website. Didn't even wish him future endeavors. Just said, yeah, he's no longer working for the company. And, look, this is something, if you've been paying attention to social media and you've been paying attention to the interviews, the few interviews that Killer Kross has been giving, you know that what had been going on with him and Impact, it was very, very fucking toxic. And just overall, the way that Ed Nordholm, president of Anthem, and, he's pretty much the new owner of Impact Wrestling and everything, just the way that he and his people conducted trying to do business with Killer Kross, it was real shitty. It was shitty and pettiness on so many levels. It wasn't even funny. It was not even funny. And it was just uncalled for. All these months that they've spent dragging it out and everything. And it's okay. If he wants to move on and he wants to go do other things, That's his right. If he no longer wants to work for you, then okay. If he no longer wants to work for you, then let him go. You can always, okay, he is somebody, I don't care, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, no matter how hot he might get, no, we're not taking him back. He can come back to us crawling on his knees. Fuck it. Do good, smart business. Do smart, good business in a way where, hey, we ended it on a respectful note. All money that was due was given to this independent contractor, and we have left things professionally very cordial where we can do business with one another again, right? So just the way that they handled Killer Cross and everything, it was just straight up fucking bullshit. And I couldn't believe the shit that was going on, because and my perspective had changed real quick once Killer Cross was speaking up more about, hey, this is what's going on, because we only heard, and this was in its infancy stages, it was basically, okay, Cross wants more money. Okay. But he signed this contract, and, well, wait a minute. If he's already signed this contract, now he's asking for more money because now he sees that his value, in essence, has doubled or tripled. So he feels what is currently going on with that contract, he's outperformed it. And okay, well, essentially that's no different than, hey, I've been performing my job above and beyond, past 6, 7, 8 months, and hey, I like working here, but I feel as though I should be given a raise, right? I see you guys are bringing in all this money, and not for nothing, but you guys have me to thank for that because of, my experience, my connections, and how I'm able to hustle for you guys. What's up? And so, yeah, if you're gonna nickel and dime somebody, that's a problem. That's a significant problem. And so when he really started opening it up more and giving us the insight into, okay, this is what's going on with me and Impact, you couldn't help but end up rooting for this guy and saying, Ed Nordholm, Impact, Anthem, what the fuck? Did you guys not learn from what was going on with the Matt Hardy situation? Did you guys not learn from that? Are you guys that petty that, and you did not learn from history that this is the direction you're going? You're really going to go down this path yet again. This was very ugly on many levels, and the fact that it dragged out for half a year was just so sad. But now he is finally free, and if you're not following him, you should on Twitter, because he is a guy that Twitter at Real Killer Cross Kross. He posts his badass tweets and little video packages. It's awesome. And he's got this newest joint that's out where he shows his hand. Looks like he's opening up his apartment or condo or whatever, and he's going into a pitch black apartment basically. And you see these flashes of images that's on a TV where you're seeing Triple H, Vince McMahon, you're seeing Nick Aldis and Jay White. You're seeing like everybody, all the hit names, AEW as well. You're seeing everybody from all the promotions, and you see him in the background as the TV light is flashing, and he's got this demonic grin on his face, and it's basically tick-tock. Now it's just a matter of time. Where is he going to strike, right? It is the whole thing. Where is he going to strike? Your guess is as good as mine where he is going to strike. If you ask me straight up and you just hold my feet to the fire where I would like to see him go, just from a creative standpoint where he can have the most creative freedom and everything, there was a time I would have said ROH, but I'm being consistent. I don't like what I'm seeing with ROH these days. I'm taking that off the table. New Japan Pro Wrestling, assuming he's still together with Scarlett Bordeaux, I don't think their relationship could handle that. That's a long distance. I don't think they could handle that. So I got to take that off the table. I think just by process of elimination, it's going to come down to NXT and it's going to come down to AEW. I would hate. Oh, man. I think AEW, I got to be consistent because there was somebody else I had brought up a couple of weeks ago where I had said, nah, AEW, they need to chill. They need to chill with signing new people for now. Just work with what they got. Establish those cats for the next 6-7 months. So I got to keep consistent there. I think NXT would probably be a nice fit for the young man. And at least it's also putting him in a position where him and his woman can stay together and everything, travel together and all that. So, yeah, I would like, and I think that Triple H, he has a really good proven track record. Once he understands, what a guy and his gimmick is all about and everything. We've seen what he was able to do with Rude. We've seen what he was able to do with Samoa Joe and everything. I think that Killer Cross in NXT, the perfect 1-2 punch between him and Hunter, HBK and all that in the mix. Yeah. I think they would definitely do his character some serious justice. All right. Also, Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso made the headlines here. Looks like he had reported to court earlier today. He was out in Florida with regards to the charges from a previous DUI arrest. Remember, that arrest had came in July. And according to the arrest report, an off-duty officer told deputies that a vehicle was going 100 miles per hour. Again, 100 miles per hour on Interstate 10 and drifting in and out of lanes. And remember, this was his second arrest in 5 months that involved alcohol. And today's court appearance for Jimmy Uso consisted basically of pretrial motions. So you can actually check it out online. They got the stuff and everything. So, just, all right, these are the charges. This is what went down. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then they try to figure out when the trial is going to begin and all that other stuff. So I'm not really sure if the Usos are going to be returning to TV as all of this is kind of happening in the background. I can't help but wonder if maybe WWE at this point is just, Usos, you guys just take your time, and once all of these legal issues is over and done with, then we can talk about bringing you guys back on WWE TV. Your guess is as good as mine on that. I see True Fighter saying he could go to NWA, just touching back, going Killer Cross one more time. That's one option as well. But here's the thing that you got to remember. Can Killer Cross afford to pay? I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I said that wrong. Here's the thing. Can NWA afford to pay what Killer Cross feels he's worth? That's the thing, right? Now, if you're just talking about, hey, it'd be nice if he can juggle NWA while also juggling appearing for other promotions, then yeah, I'm totally down with that. But if you're just going to say solely NWA, see, trust me, I'm with you guys. I like what NWA has been doing. But at the same time, the one thing that we all need to remember is that Billy Corgan has this 20-year plan. And he is doing things. And there's a great article that's out, by the way, about Billy Corgan and his whole do-it-yourself approach and how he just has everything. He's got the blueprint on how he wants to take things in NWA and everything. And for me, we'd be here all night talking about certain guys and girls that we feel would be a much better fit in NWA. But the one thing that we need to remember is, okay, NWA, they ain't rolling like that with the AEW money. They ain't got a con in their back pocket. They don't have a Vince McMahon and crew and stockholders and all that in their back pocket. So, until Killer Cross really lays out there how much money he was expecting to be getting from Impact Wrestling and all that other shit, I mean, you can't help but kind of just have in the back of your mind, well, Billy Corgan, yeah, that'd be great if he could get a piece of talent like a Killer Cross or insert name here. But some of them names, they're fucking premium. Premium meaning it's gonna cost you a pretty fucking penny. And in the grander scheme of things for what Billy Corgan is trying to do, he's already got the budget and all that shit laid out for the tapings and all that other, and the eventual long-term plan to get the TV and all this other shit. Yeah, man, I think with the guys that they got right now, and they're trying to get their TV deal and all that shit, that's essentially their crew. That is their core group right now. If there are other people that are willing, I should say, to want to work with Billy Corgan and Lagana and, give that discount and work with them, oh, I mean, that'd be fucking great. That would be fucking great. But for what they're trying to do right now, man, I don't think as far as big names and all that, and I do consider to a certain degree, I do consider Killer Cross a big name. I'm not saying he's on the lines of like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair pay me, but for my estimation, what I was seeing of the man's work and how much of a big fan I was becoming of his shit, I would definitely put him in the category of, I would put him in between like a Samoa Joe for salary. I would put him in between a Samoa Joe and Adam Cole. I would kind of put him in that kind of category. Put it to you this way. Whatever the current salaries are for the cats down there in NXT, because I know they got a little bit of a bump. Whatever the current salaries are, I would say give that to Killer Cross, maybe a little bit more. I don't know if NWA could afford to pay Killer Cross that. Not right now. Maybe down the road, but not right now. And on that note, we're going to end the show because we went a couple of minutes in the OT. I told you guys I was going to try to do my best to not have this be a 2-hour show. So we're going to go ahead and stick a fork in it here because I really don't have anything much else I want to add to that. So once again, quick programming notes. That's it for the rest of the week. We're on break until next Monday, which is going to be December the 23rd. Nope, December the 23rd. We'll be back after Raw goes off the air. And then remember, we're not going to have any other show after that. And then your next edition, which will drop on Monday the 30th. And I'm not sure. I got to talk with the missus. I think the way we might actually do that show, we may actually do a free-for-all wrestling with the topics. I'll have to wait and see. If we do, that may be something that's going to be pre-recorded and will actually go live. So we'll see. I got to check with the missus and her schedule and see what she thinks, what she wants to do and everything. So that's the quick programming notes for the next 2 Mondays. Also want to take the time out and I want to recognize some of our sponsors as we get ready to wrap up here. Want to give a shout out first to our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio video content. Great majority you won't be able to find anywhere else. Little as $5 a month to get you access. Shout out to Patreon members, Justin Ripstock. Happy belated birthday, my friend. Shout out to John Krauser, who's doing this thing at the Second City Theater all month long for his special Brain Freak Live holiday show. Happy to hear the tickets have been selling now. Awesome stuff. Shout out to Sean Kenter. Shout out to my good friend Tony Bing Gaming. Want the latest in all things Marvel gaming news, tips, tricks, reviews. Tony Bing Gaming. He's got a great YouTube channel and a Patreon wall as well. Shout out to Freddie R. Freddie. Hope you are doing good, my friend. Not working too hard. Shout out to Michael Wolf, John Davis, Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup, and shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Shout out to some of our sponsors. Shout out to Screaming Bulls 1. Check them out, man. Great wrestling sculptor. If you need custom figures or bust made, he's your man. He's on Twitter at Screaming Bulls 1. Shout out to him. Also, shout out to aliveshoes.com/correlated. They're offering a very fly limited edition shoe line mixed with pop culture, street life, and style. There's a coupon code you can use to get $30 off. It is for a limited time. I want you guys to check out that link when you guys get a chance. And I'm loving the shoes, man. Thank Bret Hitman Hart, the Hart Foundation, as far as the color scheme goes for his shoes. God damn, it is badass. I got the link that's live in the chat for you guys. And for those of you that will be listening to this on demand and on the downloads, you can just look at the episode description and you'll be able to see that link and all that. But yeah, shout out to him, aliveshoes.com/correlated. Also, shout out to awesometwins.com. They make it easier for regular dudes like you and me to buy thoughtful gifts that will guarantee to put a smile on that woman's face. Almosttwins.com allows you to personalize your gift and make it 10 times as thoughtful. Go to almosttwins.com. It's as simple as this. You pick a design. You pick a size. They handle the rest. Doesn't get any easier than that. Again, almosttwins.com. Check them out. almosttwins.com. Also, we're brought to you in part by davidallencapital.com. If your business needs working capital to fund its growth, or maybe to get it through a tight financial pinch, if traditional banks aren't the right fit for you, these guys may be able to help you access the funds you need when you need it. And they have helped out over 10 billion people. Yes, they have helped out 10 billion people that have small businesses. So if that is you and you needed funds like yesterday, these people can definitely help you out. They do not pay attention to your credit score. Instead, they try to figure out what top alternative options are available to you to get you to access to the money that you need. Call my friend Alex at David Allen Capital at area code 202-445-0851. That's 202-445-0851. Get funding in as little as 3 days. Also brought to you in part by President Evil. Check the movie out. Days before the November midterm elections, 3 young girls are stalked by a deranged killer dressed as a president of the United States. Check out the trailer. Buy the movie. All on Amazon.com. Speaking of movies, this guy is going to have an awesome weekend. I did not ever see Joker in the theaters. So was telling the missus about it. I said, guess what's on demand? She said, what? I said, Joker. And she said, oh. I said, oh, yes. So looking forward to that. That's something we've both been wanting to check out. So gonna finally be sitting down watching that this weekend. Looking forward to that. I don't know. I just looked at President Evil, the title, and I just started thinking about Joker. Last but not least, can't forget about also my good friends over at leafyassets.com. If you're a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they can help protect your assets and strategically grow your business and wealth. Check them out, leafyassets.com. Appreciate all of our sponsors and our Patreon members. Also appreciate those of you that checked out this episode here. So just under 2 minutes, gonna shut it down. Appreciate those of you that checked out the show. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Those of you that enjoyed the show, please, feedback, very important. Leave the thumbs up, all that stuff. I got the survey asking you guys how we're doing. That's going to be coming up Thursday night. I'm going to make it go live. Those of you waiting for the audio version of this, I will have it be available Thursday night as well. Appreciate those of you that checked out the stream live, and appreciate those of you that will be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. And until next go round, wishing all y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you next go round. Adios.